Welcome to the Earth Your Wild podcast, brought to you by Reuserbox, providing a better way to buy cardboard boxes. We're your hosts, Jack and Ellie.
This is the podcast where we talk to industry experts and change makers to try to answer the question, how do we make our businesses better for people and the planet?
Today we're joined by Krisi Smith. Krisi is the co-founder and Chief Tea Mixologist at Bird and Blend, an independent award-winning tea company on a mission to spread happiness and reimagine tea. Bird and Blend was set up by Krisi and Mike, who started off packing tea in their bedroom, and now they operate from 17 stores across the whole of the UK with a team of more than 200 staff and a thriving D2C international website. So we're really excited to speak to you today. Like I said, I'm a huge tea fan, so can't wait.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here. I think I first saw you on, I think you got me via an ad, which I'm not a massive social media user, and I don't usually those sorts of things don't usually catch my eye. And I saw it and thought, wow, this is really, really cool, which is how you first came onto my radar. So yeah, your marketing's something's going right there, because I thought it was fantastic what you're doing. I'm excited to talk to you.
Nice. Yeah, most people just ask us to stop sending them the ads when I speak to them.
Yeah, I know what that's like. Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to start off by telling us a bit about your story?
Yeah, mine personally, the business, they're kind of interlinked.
Both really,
yeah. So yeah, we started 11 years ago now, which is a bit bonkers really. So I was 24 when I started the business, with my business partner Mike, and I think back then as a 24-year-old, I didn't know what I wanted to do in terms of my career, but I had a really, really clear idea of what I didn't want to be doing. I kind of, I'd studied politics and philosophy, and I was quite creative at school, and I had worked loads of jobs, like every job you could think of. I was just desperate to earn money and see the world, and see what was going on out there, and having a very loud opinion about what I thought was right and wrong as a young person. And I think I just started to build a bit of a picture of what I didn't think was right in necessarily careers or in businesses that I'd worked in. I felt that quite consistently a curiosity, or the question why, or anything that was about kind of the bigger purpose of why something was being done, whether it was literally something really specific in my job or whether it was for the whole organization, just wasn't really welcomed. And I think that pigeonholed me a little bit into being kind of opinionated or, difficult to work with. And I just thought, well, if I can't find a place that's going to enable me to kind of explore what I think is a really good trait, this curiosity about doing things in a better way or understanding why you're doing them, I'm just going to do it myself. Which, looking back on it, I think was just a lot of stubbornness and a lot of naivety as a young person, as you are when you're younger, and you just think, I thought I can do this. I'll kind of give it a go. And obviously there's been a lot of luck along the way. You can't start a business without a lot of luck and a lot of hard work. But I think that kind of stubbornness to build something that would do better was the driving force for starting the business. So we actually started the business. Well, I say started. We were me and Mike, who were life partners at that time as well, were skiing in Canada, and we just were sat in the pub and wrote on the back of a napkin, like, why do we want to start a business? And it was almost word for word the statement of what is now B Corp certification. So it was to prove that you could build a business that bases its decisions on people and planet, not just profit. Profit's always been in there. If I wanted to try and change and impact the world, without the profit bit, I could have gone into the charity sector, or I could have gone into politics. But I just passionately thought that business and careers could make a positive impact on the world. And then obviously for that business to expand its impact, it does need to make a profit. So it's always been both for us, which I presume is similar for your thinking as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I managed to convince Mike to come back. It wasn't anything about tea at that point. I only drank Yorkshire tea as well.
Like me.
Yeah,
like me.
exactly. Yeah, so I wasn't a tea. I mean, I had worked in the industry, but at low-level jobs, and I just thought, we tried a few ideas, and then I thought, tea. Why is no one in the UK doing tea in this like fun way? Back then, it was just either herbal tea in Holland and Barrett, or it was like really chintzy, tea rooms and afternoon tea. There was no one doing it like we do it now. So I managed to convince Mike to come back for the summer to the UK, moved back in with parents, and did markets and events and festivals for the whole summer, trying to sell these blends we created literally in my mum's back bedroom. I did a focus group with my mum's friends to try the first 10 blends. I've got pictures of it in a tiny garden. And then the rest is history. It just went really, really, really well. And we've just been growing since. And I've also been growing, starting off as a founder, you do everything yourself. And then you've got to find the right people, and then you've got to be a leader of those people. And as those people get more experienced and you get, leadership teams and boards, it gets even more complex and another challenge. So yeah, that's what I've been doing, basically. I was going to say in a nutshell, but that's not a nutshell, is it? That was a very long, but there we go. We have it.
Oh, that was a beautiful story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's nice to hear somebody so authentically purpose-driven. It kind of sounds like you could almost be doing like a range of other businesses, but you were really just focused on this is why we're doing it. This is what we care about, and tea. Let's do that to fund it. So,
did you have to learn how to mix tea then? And was that a big learning curve? And
yeah, I mean, I'd worked for a couple of companies in the UK, including one that had tea bars, so a bit like a Starbucks, but an independent, but for tea, which aren't around anymore doing that. I'd been a manager, just a retail manager for them, so nothing too kind of creative. And I'd also worked for a company when I was out in Canada that did creative blending, but again, I wasn't a blender. But I knew what I liked, and I could see what the customers were liking, and I just got excited by that, and then did a lot of research on the market, and actually realized that although the tea market industry is massive, I thought there was a huge gap in what is flavored herbal, kind of more flavorful teas, because there wasn't really anything that people say, oh, it tastes like smells great, but it tastes like dishwater, like of a flavored tea. And I thought, this is just such a cool, versatile drink that why, I think I can do more with this. So what I did is I actually went to a blending house to start with and said, look, I've got these ideas for recipes that I want you to create for me. And I can remember one of them was Mahiti, which is still a top seller now. So it's a green tea with mint and lime slices. And I created it because I don't like green tea. And Mike's always saying, like, can you stop telling people that you don't like certain teas? But I don't like green tea. I don't like the taste of it. But I knew that I really liked how refreshing it was. I liked that it was lower caffeine. I liked the health benefits of it. So I created that blend because it doesn't taste like green tea. It tastes like mint and lime, like a mojito. And I can remember talking to the blender who was like a master blender who'd worked in the tea industry for years and usually creates breakfast teas for like the really top places in the country. And he's got me sitting in front of him as a 24-year-old saying, like, can you create me a tea with lime slices in it, please? And he was disgusted. Like absolutely disgusted. And I think it all worked out fine. We had a great relationship going forwards, over the years. And again, I think that just came back to the stubbornness of youth, I think, of just thinking, I know best. I think it's more, I want you to give me the opportunity to try, because if I try this and it doesn't work, then fine, I can accept that. But you're not going to tell me that this isn't going to work before I've given it a go myself. So it's kind of that stubbornness, I think, that has served me well over the years. And then over the years, I've created all of our blends, pretty much all of our recipes. Still do that now, although I have a team with me now. Still sign off on all of the blends. It's one of the funnest parts of my job, and I'm very, very good now. But at the beginning, I didn't have any qualifications at all.
Yeah. I love it. Oh, sorry.
Well, I was going to say, I guess the only qualification that you obviously have, which is really important, is that kind of authentic passion. I guess you were looking at it in terms of, okay, I'd like to drink green tea, but I don't like green tea. Mm-hmm. So how can I make it so I like it? And of course, everybody kind of connects and engages with that.
I think all the flavors on your website are really fun as well, that you produce. I mean, so I've tried a few of them. I really like the rhubarb and custard one. I've got a really sweet tooth, so I go for all the sweet ones.
Yeah, me too.
Is it the bonfire toffee one? And is there is it strawberry lemonade?
Yes,
I've tried those ones. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're all, because I think, like you say, a lot of like herbal teas, they're a bit too healthy seeming, aren't they? And a bit too
taste a bit too much like medicine.
Yeah. But no, they're really nice. Really, yeah. And I think I ordered some just before Christmas, I think, for some presents and stuff. And what I also really like about what you do is like I think you've got a really great unboxing experience. Because you write a little handwritten note, don't you, for the customer?
We do, yeah. And
put some little samples in there. And I think it's really nice. Like so many companies, I think will think, oh, we'll get some really fancy packaging. And obviously we know a bit about packaging. And sometimes I'll get this packaging through for something else. And I'll think it's just massively over packaged and I'll have to like saw it open to get into the product. So it's nice that you don't bother with all that, but you've still kind of personalized it and made it fun. So yeah, I really like that. I think it's smart.
Thank you. I mean, I think what it is there's been like, there's certain protected things that over the years we've learned as we've grown have been really special, and you can't measure them on a performance report. And you just, and I've been ferocious over the years of protecting some of those things. So like the handwritten notes, it means something to people, it gets talked about, it creates like, it comes from the fact that Mike and I used to write a note on every order we packed, because we used to pack the boxes, and we were genuinely so pleased that they had, ordered from us. And then, and over the years we do all of our fulfillment ourselves as well. And I think over the years, there's been times where we've, under the banner of growth and maturity, we've explored whether we should outsource our fulfillment, for example, or use a packing provider, etc. And it's just always come back to me for, like, I don't want to lose that element for savings. You can tell me it's going to save me 20p on my box, and I don't. That's not going to sway me on it, like, because it comes back to the fundamental kind of pillars of why we started a business, and that's that kind of impact on people's lives, whether that's the people we recruit and nurture, or whether it's the impact even on a tiny way on a customer's kind of day. And those things, like I have always said, like, we're not getting rid of that. It's an absolute, like, no, regardless of what the P&L says, we're not moving on that. And I think that sometimes businesses that lose sight of why people shop with them and why people give them their money and why people want to work with them, because either they can save money on their packaging or they can have prettier things that they think is on trend. You lose sight of what is actually important to the customer, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Rachel and Ellie drink your tea. I'm going to start drinking it now. But I think from my perspective, it seems to be, I guess maybe that's why people like to buy it from you, because it's like, you're making them feel something. You make them feel something when you leave them that note, and that's kind of what you're about. And I don't think you can get that from other tea brands. So it's really special.
Thank you.
Yeah, I did ahead of this think I'll go to the supermarket and I'll buy some of your tea and then I can drink it.
And I said you can't.
And then I realised you can't buy it, and I said, what's this about? So I just wondered, is that like a conscious thing? Are you boycotting the supermarkets, or what's your?
Yeah, we turned we were approached by all of the 4 major supermarkets in our first year of business.
Wow.
So that's like 25 years old, stood at a market stall, trying to sell tea to, I don't know, Stratford River Festival or Bakewell WI or whatever it was. We did some really cool ones as well. Like we did Glastonbury and stuff, but yeah, the Bakewell WI and the town hall was on one scale, and then the Glastonbury Festival was on the other. And over that year, yeah, we got the attention of all four, and we spoke with some of the buyers. And at that time as well, in 2012, 2013, the tea shelves in the supermarkets weren't what they are now. They were just breakfast, maybe a couple of decaf and lemon and ginger, really. So when I say look came into it, we hit the sweet spot of the time where everybody was looking to invest in this wider kind of flavored market of tea. So, and we were at the forefront of that. So there was market influences and look involved that meant that we were also attractive to these buyers, because it was only really us doing it. But as you can imagine, 12 months in, we don't have a premises. We're still packing tea in my mum's back bedroom. We don't have a shop. We barely have a website that I built. And you've got people coming and saying, we'll put you on the shelves. And we thought about it really hard, but it just came back to the why. Like, why have we done this? We set up a business to positively impact people's lives. Do we, and our own lives, do we really feel excited about being what essentially would be account managers and going for grocery? Like, we wanted to create spaces, physical spaces where people could hang out. And we knew that going grocery was going to take us one way, and that would probably negatively impact our ability to go for retail stores. There was only two of us. We thought, pick one. And against everybody's advice, when the high street was dying, we chose retail stores because that was true to the why. And again, I think it wasn't we think we couldn't prove at that point that would be commercially the better option, but it wasn't about commercially. It was about doing it our way. So we said no. And I think now maybe it's something we could look at, maybe. Now the brand's a lot stronger, but it is a distraction. And I think that when you push people there's a magic in pushing people to think of a different way of going about things. So, we say we're not doing the usual route of an FMCG. We're not going for grocery. How else are we going to do this? Or, we didn't have any performance marketing for the first 6 years of the business. So I'm not paying for performance marketing. So how are we going to do this? That creates magic in the teams and as an output that you cannot, I think bigger companies and other companies miss, because they just go for the kind of cookie cutter of performance ads and grocery. And I just, it's just not my style of leadership, I guess, to go for the easy option.
I suppose it forces you to be creative and
exactly
kind of think a bit differently. And then I suppose in your example, that's really worked in your favor. You've got something really unique now.
We have.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I feel like you said earlier, it's very B Corp, isn't it? And it's almost been built into you from the start. And that's it's a really unique way of doing business, I think. I know it's come out more because of B Corp, but at that time when the supermarkets were coming to you and you were like, no, that sounds insane, doesn't it? That anyone would turn that down. I feel like if that was you, Jack, you'd be like, yes, please, right this way. So I think that's really inspiring. Do you think that's helped your business, or from like a profit perspective?
Yeah, it's definitely helped us from a margin and ownership perspective. We've owned the brand, we've grown the brand through word of mouth, through being forced to do it really, really well for the customer by retaining great talent over the years. So it's helped with that, with solid foundations, and it's helped with retaining margin, obviously. Is it the quickest and easiest way of growing a business and turning a profit? Absolutely not. But because, neither is having 200 team members and 20 retail stores. There's a much, much, much simpler way of doing what we do. But I don't know, I feel like, again, that just wasn't our why. That wasn't why we were doing it. And I think that's the thing about B Corp, that if we get it right collectively, that is what's going to change and actually make business as a whole a force for good. Because, you know, I obviously do believe in many elements of capitalist society. I've started a business, you know, and I have arguably in some ways done the worst thing you could possibly do for the planet, which is I've created a business that has a consumable product. So, you know, I'm not you know, I'm authentic about those things. But the thing I love about B Corp, and the thing that I've tried to do at Bird and Blend, is the understanding that if you try and balance all three of those things, so profit for you, you know, fair treatment of people that you interact with so that they benefit as well, and also your sustainable, environmental responsibility, that the balance of those three things means that everybody benefits. So that is the way that if we have more businesses like that operating in that way, I believe that's the only way we are actually going to see meaningful change. Because I don't think that it's realistic to just say, you know, I was going to swear, but I don't want to swear, you know, get rid of capitalism. Like, what? No, that's not happening. You know, and I don't believe that. You've got to kind of almost join the game and then try and change the rules of the game. And that's what I think B Corp is trying to do. And I'm very much on board for that. And I think that is the only way we are going to see actual change for people and the planet, is to leverage this amazing kind of business economy to prove that people can still profit, but they can also do it in a way that doesn't destroy the planet or the people that work for it.
I think what I've noticed speaking to B Corps, and I imagine probably similar for you guys as well, is I think that having that outlook kind of really builds culture within your company. And I imagine that if you had gone down the route of getting a contract with the supermarkets and using like a 3PL to contract out all your logistics and packing, I imagine you probably would have lost that culture. And I think that culture is actually something that probably helps you with your productivity. I think that probably helps people rally around and build a community, and, you know, really build a great place to work, you know. And, you know, probably maybe if you had done that, maybe you wouldn't be a very happy person, and you wouldn't have that kind of culture around you. So
yeah, absolutely. And again, it's something that you can't really measure. So, you know, there's what is it, like 1 in 3 businesses fail, you know. We've been in business 11 years. So we've been through the recession, COVID, a divorce, Mike and I marrying and divorcing. You know, we've had all sorts of quite big, impactful, you know, all of the pricing going through the roof with the wars and everything at the moment. Like, we've managed to survive all of those things, I believe, because of that solid foundation of that team around us. Yeah. And that's like invaluable. I just don't think that we could have done that if we didn't have people that really believed in what we were trying to do. So commercially as well, it has proven to be the right it wasn't a strategic decision in that way, but it has been the right way to do it, because it's meant we've survived some really, really, really challenging times of the business, or in fact thrived in some of them.
Yeah, and I think we have had like similar experiences as well. And I think it's that having that purpose, like probably everybody in your company and our company, you know, they all have all these challenges going every day, but when you've got that kind of purpose around what you do, it kind of I guess it brings you back to baseline and keeps you ticking.
Mm-hmm. What I'd like to know some of the other ways you live by the B Corp principles, because I know that you're doing some really great stuff. I think you're looking for on your website and your impact report. I know you're doing some great environmental stuff and some charity stuff. Can you talk us through what you're doing there?
Yeah, so at the moment, our kind of overall top line strategy is to take the B Corp score that we got last year and the year before, was it? Yeah, our first kind of certification, and increase that. So we've got a target we're 1 year into a 3-year plan to increase that B Corp score. So we are looking at the moment about ways to like tangibly move that dial and to do that in ways that isn't just greenwashing, basically, which in theory you're not supposed to be able to do with B Corp, but like there's that sort of thing can happen in any, I firmly believe in B Corp. I think it's brilliant, but you can kind of just do a few things and it looks like maybe you're getting better, but do you actually believe that? I don't know. So we're trying to take it slow and be kind of very open about our goals. One of the challenging things is that because we're also wanting to grow the business over the next couple of years, again, that's basically adding a whole load of negative impact onto the planet. So what we're working on at the moment is really understanding how the impact across not just planet but also social impact is balanced in that. So if we grow and have more stores, more jobs, we should be able to have a more positive social impact in the communities around us and with our community initiatives like our charity initiative. But then our carbon emissions are going to go up and all of our team travel is going to go up. And, so yeah, we're looking at all of that stuff at the moment. I mean, some of the stuff that we do that I'm really proud of, all of our packaging is now, I think 99% of the packaging now is either compostable or biodegradable, which was something that we wanted to get to, including we had to actually move into manufacturing the tooling for the packaging for our tea bag little single serve envelopes that didn't exist. You couldn't get a compostable version of that on the market. So we developed that, cost us quite a lot of money, and then also made sure it was open source. So we've not patented or protected that in any way. So that because we want everyone to use it, ideally, which is actually really challenging because that was last year or so. And then we actually lost 2 quite big contracts with 2, we had some really good partnerships with a couple of very boutique, very experience-based hotels that had our single serves in their, we call them single serves, in their rooms. We don't do a lot of that, but they were great partnerships. Met both of the people at events and stuff and kind of built it that way. And because we chose to put our tea bags into that packaging, the price of our single serve tea bags quadrupled. So we had to pass some of that on to them. And then we lost those contracts because of that. So actually, it wasn't just the cost of the manufacturing that material that impacted us. We also lost hundreds of thousands of pounds of contracts as a result of that. But again, like, it comes down to what the right thing to do is. And by making it open source, we've removed the USP of being able to say we're the only people that are truly kind of doing it ethically, which would be a selling point as well. But we're not doing that because that's not the point, is it, of B Corp? It's not the point of what we're of using business as a force for good. So yeah, we do all sorts of stuff around carbon. You know what, we plant a tree or trees for every takeaway cup that gets used in our stores, even though they are biodegradable. We offer discounts for refilling with your own packaging and bringing your own cups in. What else do we do? We do all sorts of stuff, but yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, that's so hard, isn't it, to make that decision where you do something amazing and then you lose customers because of it. Did you ever think then that you'd made the wrong decision and you shouldn't have done it? Because I guess, like, Jack has to remind me sometimes that at the end of the day, a company has to make profit. Otherwise, there is no company.
That is true.
I forget that.
I think purpose is the most important thing for us, as it is with you. But you also have your objectives, and an objective is to be able to make enough money to pay everybody and keep everyone in employment. But yeah, we're also having these kind of tough decisions on a regular basis about, okay, well, what do we do next, and how do we sort of redesign the business model, and then how do we pay for it?
Yeah, it's really hard. I mean, we've got quite a bit of stability around us now. We're much bigger, we've got more budgets at hand, but for the first 6 or 7 years, so up until the other side of COVID, so 2019, we were still a tiny team all in one office with 5 stores, and that's the majority of my experience at Bird and Blend. The last 2 or 3 years have been a whirlwind, but I empathize completely that those first 7 years were very much no money, tough decisions. What do we have to sacrifice? What are we willing to sacrifice? And how can we, ultimately make sure that we're growing, but if we stripped all that growth out, we are still confident we've got an operationally profitable business, which is important. So you can pay your staff and, etc. But I think now, because we've been through that, of those tough decisions, and we've got such solid foundations now in the 2 things that are actually really, really special and commercially valuable about our business. And that is, we have a cracking product. Like it's like none other on the market. The way we deliver it in the stores, the experience is like nothing it cannot be replicated quickly and easily. It's really, really special. And we're fun, we're innovative in that space. And we have a fantastic team. So those 2 things are the 2 things that get us customers, retain us customers, basically make the whole business profitable, or bring the revenue in at least. So because we've got those 2 things, when it comes down to having to look at a very, very commercial based decision like what I just described, what happens is we don't think, I don't think, that was a bad decision. I just think, right, that's a challenge. That's going to be a challenge that's going to hit our margin or our bottom line. How are we going to make that back, or make up for this by leveraging the things that are really important, so the people, the product, etc. And because I have such confidence that is what is valuable about our business, it doesn't really matter to me if our ads stop working. My heads of department hate me doing this, and they would say otherwise. My head of digital would not agree that it was fine if our ads stopped working. But and understandably so, because they are there to deliver the KPIs for the business. And it's often very revenue focused, or it's margin focused, or it's whatever. So rightly so, they will protect the budget they've got to spend and the channels they use, and they want to do things like sales and discounts and blah, blah, blah. But I have such confidence in the foundations we've built around those 2 things. And until I see anything in the data or the feedback or whatever that suggests that that's changed, it's my stubbornness again, but I don't believe that, one mistake or one decision around losing a contract or whatever else is enough to damage the business now. We're quite a big ship now, so it would take, touch wood, it would take quite a lot to take us down. I hope. I should say that, should I? Putting it out into the world.
But it's great, because you're obviously looking to work with the right people. You're looking for the right customers, the ones that value your principles and what you're doing. So maybe, I guess you could argue that contract just they weren't the right people to work with.
Well, there's like I always say, for every business that we can't work with, there's going to be like 10 more that are a good fit, that would like us. So it's a big world out there.
Absolutely. And I think that you, as owners of the business, like you it's quite a lonely place to be. You don't really you have a team around you, but it's only you really that can judge what is and isn't going to keep you up at night. You started the business, it's yours. Ultimately, people care, they work really hard, they love their jobs, they buy in. I've got fantastic team members, but ultimately it's me that's up at night if the business operates in a way that isn't true to what I wanted it to be. And I think that the worst thing that can happen is if your purpose, whatever that is, because it doesn't have to be the same as mine, starts getting like blown in the wind of everyone else's opinion of, well, we can't, once you start rocking and feeling that kind of those foundations of your purpose being rocked, you end up like can't see the woods for the trees. And that, so at least, you've got to have confidence in something, and you've got to pick a lane. And If it might not work, it might not work, but I think it's better than thinking, oh, so-and-so gave me this advice, or that contract didn't work there, let's change this over here. Have we done the right thing there? Because then you're not really standing for anything.
Yeah, and I think if things get too diluted, that's where you can get greenwashy, and that's
Correct.
where things can fall apart, and people just don't believe what you're saying. Like consumers especially are just getting really questioning everything now, aren't they? They're smart. They're not just taking it they're not just going to believe that you're eco-friendly or good for the planet just because you tell them.
Yeah, and I think for you, if like building the great team that you've got, if you started making the wrong kind of decisions, with regards to your purpose, that might become a bit toxic for your team and your company. I think there's probably a real important reason why people choose to work for you. So
what kind of advice would you give to a business owner who was starting out and wanted to in a purpose-driven business?
I would advise them to step back from whatever it is that they're doing in terms of like the literal mechanics of their business, if they've got it yet, or their idea, like the product that they want to sell or the routes to market or whatever, or even the wider market or the clients or whatever, and just really, really get clear on what they want to be about, like why they want to even exist. It's okay if it's money, it's okay if it's personal growth, it's okay if it's making an impact on the planet, it could be whatever it is, but you just need to be very, very clear on what that is, I think, and that becomes the founding kind of principle for every decision from there on in. I don't know if you've seen Simon. I'm a big fan of Simon Sinek's Start With Golden Circle stuff. I think that's brilliant. Watch that within 6 months of business, and a kind of that's the framework we use. So using that, and I think then you can measure your decisions that you want to make from there back off that, because what you want to try and avoid is that with things like B Corp and other kind of, I guess, tangible measures or smart measures, when you start talking about achieving those things, sometimes if you don't have that proper grounding, you can just end up taking action to achieve a tangible measure that kind of proves you're doing it right, and losing all kind of notion of the reason you were doing it in the first place. So I think it's really good to go for a B Corp certification. I think it's really good to think about your sustainability, your impact on society and the planet, but don't just do the things that people are telling you to do or that appear like they're the right things to do to get a tangible measure. You need to really believe that they're right for you. And my experience has been that if you're authentic about that, I've never said that we do everything right. And in fact, many ways we don't do what is seen to be right. We don't, our teas aren't all organic or fair trade, for example. I know that. I've chosen that. I've got a reason for that. I share that, and that's all I can do. And if people get it, fine. If they don't, fine. But I think the authenticity and the confidence that I've been able to make those decisions because I know what our purpose is what is really special about trying to do better in business, is my opinion.
Well said.
Yeah, I love that.
So when it comes to like tea, I did actually want to kind of understand kind of the impact. Like, has it got a big environmental footprint as a product?
Yes, it does. I mean, not compared to sort of the fashion industry and things like that. But it's a farming product, so yeah, it does use a lot of, and it's traded a lot. Is the kind of thing about tea. I'm actually reading a book at the moment called Empire Land, which is all about the kind of, I don't know if you've read it, but it's about the industries that were built up through the empire and how they still impact the world today. It's really fascinating. But tea is traded so many times that it actually has quite a big social impact, and in many areas negative societal impact. And it's a huge part of the economy of some very key underdeveloped countries. So the opportunity there to do things better, which is why you get things like fair trade, because they are trying to make things better, are so important. I mean, with us, we're being the last in the chain of trading, which is the selling. In theory, that's not a great thing, really. We're taking a product. I mean, we pay very fairly for our ingredients, way above fair trade prices anyway, which is why I don't want the certification, because we pay decent people to do it well, and pay them fair. But really, what we benefit from as the end brand is we get to take a product that's been traded 3, 4, 5, 6 times, put a margin on it for us launching it as part of our brand, and we get profit probably more than some of the other people trading in the loop. So it isn't, I'm not shy about saying that is the case, but we choose to focus on what we can do with that growing reach, with that growing money behind us, and see if we can positively impact the world around us. I don't know, it's a complicated industry. I mean, and also we need to be really, really careful with it because it's being decimated by climate change. So we're not going to have the range of teas and ingredients in a reliable way if we carry on treating our planet the way that we are. I don't know if maybe that's a better cause for change across the nation. If you don't sort it out, you can't have your cup of tea.
Yeah, I think the average British person would be quite shocked to hear that. Yeah. You should use that. Put that in your marketing.
Light bulb moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's scary, isn't it? That about what's happening. I guess it's the same as the coffee industry, isn't it? So similar.
Similar, yeah.
Do you know if there's anything being done around that? Are they changing? Can they change where they're growing it, or the types of tea, or am I talking nonsense?
I think the main difference between coffee and tea is that the variety is so wide across tea, in that you've got kind of the more, I guess, colonial setup spaces like Africa, some of African countries, India, Sri Lanka, where they've been set up to produce black breakfast teas. Basically, they produce it all year round, and it's usually blended. So big companies like Unilever will buy from this estate, or own those estates and blend them together. So you get a breakfast tea that's got some Rwandan tea in it, some Sri Lankan tea in it, some Assam tea in it, for example. So that's not necessarily the section of the industry that's going to be massively impacted. It would be more the kind of heritage and historical teas that are grown and have been grown for thousands of years in places like China and Japan, where you get kind of the first flush of the season, and these really exquisite Darjeeling teas in India that are grown at elevation, and the weather systems and patterns that are not just there now, but that have molded the environment and the earth over the years to produce these types of tea. That's a bit more like what's happening to the wine industry at the moment, in that the flavors and the varieties and the traditions and the heritage is what's being impacted because of the severe changes in the climate, and also loads of political unrest. That we're losing all of that, which is really, really sad.
What is the solution to that? If that's not too complex a question.
I don't know. I just think it's the same. It all just ties into the same thing, is that people will not, unfortunately, I think humans just will not, or are not able to take their head above the day to day, maybe understandably so, to pay attention to something until it literally hits them in their face. I know that we mean well and we care, but really we are all in our own lives. And that's why I feel like pre-warnings about this, that and the other, it just doesn't seem to make a tangible difference until it smacks you in the face. We had I got called on the radio a couple of weeks ago and had like loads of influx of requests for quotes, because there's a delay in getting Sainsbury's tea bags to the shelf because of what's going on in the Red Sea at the moment, and the ships being delayed. And it was like uproar. and that's just them being a bit delayed. It wasn't even out of stock, and the kind of like hype about the fact that these tea bags might not be on the shelf. And I think that it needs to be, it almost get to that level before somebody goes, wait, how is this affecting me? But then by then it's too late, isn't it? So that's why I really do feel like going through business in the way that we are and trying to prove that you can still make a profit and you can still run your business profitably and also do it in the right way. That's why I do think that that's the way forward. Like strongly, you have to prove it with the money, because that's how we live at the moment. We're very, society is driven by money. It makes the world go round, and we need to prove that either at the very least it doesn't damage your profit, the economy to go green, but at the best case scenario would be actually it's even better financially for you to go green, to do these things in a green way. Like that's what I think needs to happen, and it is happening in some areas.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah, definitely. Have you written a book? We were just talking about this before the podcast. Yes. Could you tell us a bit about that?
Oh, the business has. Yeah, we've got a brand business book coming out. Yes, I have thought about it actually a few times.
I thought it was
me
you
writing a book. No, the business. We are launching. I have written a book. It's called The World Atlas of Tea.
That's the one I mentioned. Yeah,
that came out years ago, and does actually it is still on sale, and it does go into the sort of heritage and processing and things of tea and different areas. And yeah, at Burn and Blend, we are launching our first brand book. It's a recipe book, actually. And it talks about
a tea recipe book.
Yeah, a tea recipe book.
Oh, wow.
So it hasn't got a title yet. I don't think that's even been decided. It's coming out this year, later in the year. And it's basically a collection of fantastic ways to use tea in drinks, baking, cooking, savoury dishes, cocktails. Yeah, it's really cool.
Nice. Tea cocktails.
Yeah, I know,
My
right?
kind of tea.
Exactly.
Have you got, so what does the future hold for Bird and Blend? What have you got planned over the next few months or years?
Over the next few months, we are planning our Christmas range and activity. So we start that this time of the year. Christmas is a really big time for us. So we're looking at what products and packaging and all sorts we need to produce for our Christmas range. We are working through a big chunk of stuff on our people side in the business at the moment, launching a new kind of improved benefits package for the team, which I'm really excited about. Actually, one of them was like a when life happens policy, which I've been wanting us to have for years, and I'm really, really excited about that. But it's not launched yet, but it's coming this quarter.
That sounds, actually, just out of interest, what is that? What's your idea on that?
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, I'm looking for ideas.
Yeah, it's basically a policy that we've brought in as a range of improved stuff across the board. So we've improved holidays, we've improved our sickness policy, maternity policy, etc. But we've also brought in, when life happens. So it's a period of time that you can take off a year just for something that has impacted your life in a way unexpectedly that you wouldn't have thought of. And I think that some of the things that we've used as examples, obviously it's at our discretion, so it could be anything, but some of the things that we've used examples are just things I've wanted to see recognised for years, which are things like if you've lost a baby early on, or you've gone through failed fertility treatment, you've been through something at home, financial abuse, domestic abuse, that you perhaps wouldn't want to tell your employer about, or they wouldn't be aware of, but you just need some time off. And I think that that's something that I just think could be really cool. So that's launching. And what else? We are opening new stores is the main one. More stores.
Nice.
Yeah, I think we've got
any near Lincoln?
Yeah, Lincoln's one of them, I think.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Nice.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Nice.
So they've
I'll be able
not
to,
yeah. we're not at
able to
heads of terms yet. Yeah, we're not at heads of terms yet, so I probably shouldn't say yes, but we are definitely in negotiations with the Lincoln store at the moment.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Branch out from your builder's
Yorkshire.
tea.
I think you should
I can stop drinking dust and milk.
I think you
have
should
normal tea.
try chocolate digestives, because that is
tried
like
that one.
a strong breakfast tea, and you can have it with milk. So if you like Yorkshire, but it's just got a little bit of like a biscuity chocolate note. Try that one.
Right, we're gonna have to go and buy some
I've added it to my
online
notes.
after this.
I'll send you some. I'll get my lovely Meg to send you some.
Amazing.
Nice.
Thank you.
So we have like a closing question we always like to ask every guest. We wanted to know where you see the world in 10 years. And a lot of people sort of say where they'd like to see it and where they think it might be.
I think that I would love for the structures and the policy and the frameworks of society to have caught up enough to be able to enable the goodness of things like social media, AI, and I've no doubt a lot of innovation that's going to come in as a result of AI around sustainability and kind of tackling the planet's problems from technology, that sort of side. I would love to see all those things doing good, but that the kind of we've kept up with it as in law and in structure and in all of that stuff to make sure it doesn't get misused. I think that's what I would love. I think that's really exciting things like being created by humans at the moment, and I think we're on another tipping point of, I grew up without any social media or a smartphone, and then that changed when that all came out. It changed the way that a whole generation of people will build lives and connections, and I think we're on another tipping point with some of the technology that's coming out, and I would love for that to be used for a force for good, but see people's and the planet protected. I think it's going to be really challenging, because I think the people that are there to create those laws and kind of protect us perhaps can't keep up with the with the advance of that. But that's what I'd love. I'd love for us to still have a lot of green spaces and tea plantations and mountains covered in snow and ice caps would be great. I those tipping points that are coming climate wise, I would love for us to have been able to pause those, but we'll see. I don't know. I'm hopeful.
I'm hopeful.
I think you have to be, really.
I think the more people like you as well building businesses and brands, kind of they inspire the next generation. So there's definitely a shift between people running businesses now to who and how they were running them 20 years ago.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly. Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Well, it's been great to have you on today. I've really enjoyed it.
Yeah, thank you.
Me
so
too.
much.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of the podcast. We hope it was truly
Earth your while.
For more information, visit reuserbox.co.uk/earthyourwhile.
And if you'd like to appear on the next series of Earth Your While, please email media@reuserbox.co.uk.